Have you seen some of those wine openers that are inappropriate?
What?
There's ones where they're inappropriate.
Hold on. Best noise in the world. Ready? Right up to the mic. Oh, yeah. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Cheers. Let me get this real quick from you.
Fill me up, Buttercup.
You want to welcome everybody in while I'm doing this?
Welcome, everyone.
Hi, guys.
We're having wine.
It's wine tonight.
Surprise.
No Chip and Joanna once again this week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, that's okay because then we don't have to share our wine.
It's a valid point. Valid point on your part. And I want to say ahead of time that we do not advocate for alcoholism in any way. And if you're not comfortable with consuming alcohol, please do not do so. However, we here in the Souza household love ourselves
Some wine.
some wine. Cheers, Mom. I love you.
Love you.
Speaking of, what wine are we drinking tonight?
We're drinking my sister's wine, and it's not what you think. I didn't steal it from her. She mailed it to me because my sister married, get this, my sister married a man who owns a winery, a whole winery, like a real one. And that was legit. Exciting. So now they mail me cases of wine, which I appreciate.
If you're a long-time follower of our channel on Good Simple Living or the main channel, you know that for years, basically from the start, if we are doing a live stream now with the podcast, if we are doing anything remotely along these lines, usually there is some wine beside us. We both really enjoy wine, and Alicia's wine in particular. We just tried it, a couple weeks ago for the first time after she sent us that case. It is legitimately good, and I am not just saying that. It is legitimately good.
Let me see the bottle. Okay, so
the best part about the bottles is Melissa is on every single label.
I am. Look at that. I'm flying an airplane on that one.
Yeah, that's her.
Yep.
That's her. Nailed it.
Here I'm mining for gold.
This is my favorite.
Yeah,
Such a hottie in this one.
No, I look good in that one.
Absolute hottie. Tell me that doesn't look like Melissa.
Look at those shorts.
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay.
It's my wife.
To be fair, this is not me. And this is actually Miss Vito. I'm saying that wrong. No, she flew an airplane like around Washington. I don't know the history of it.
Oh, she's like an actual historical
figure.
figure.
Actually historical, so I probably shouldn't claim this one. But this is me, the minor girl with the shorts and the tush. That's me for sure. Yeah,
really good wine. You want to refer to some folks, it's the holiday season. A lot of folks like buying wine, and they have a deal going on right now for cases of wine, correct?
They do. So my sister married into the luck of this. Wine Girl Wines. Wine Girl Wines is out of Chelan, Washington. They have amazing wine. They have adorable labels. They're all pinup girls. Not all their labels are pinup girls, but they have a pinup girl collection. And I think they make the cutest gifts. They have, give me the white one here. What? This one.
The Chardonnay?
Okay, the Chardonnay has a girl looking sexy in a ski lift. And I was like, if you bought this and put like cute mittens and like some ski lift tickets on that, that's a nice gift.
So again, this is legitimately good wine. It's a lot better than the box wine that we are so very accustomed to consuming on a regular basis.
Yeah, this is much better.
And then Alicia sent us an entire case, and these are the last 4 bottles that we have. So Alicia, when you're not busy, we're
going to need a refill.
Take another case. So there's a Pinot Grigio there. Is Syrah? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Syrah is amazing.
Clearly, I am not
good.
a wine expert by any means. However, yeah, they were all 4 very, very good. We're big Chardonnay and Merlot drinkers, and
we're having the Merlot tonight.
Can't say enough positive things about it. So Wine Girls, go check them out. Yeah,
Wine Girl Wines. I'm going to put their website down below. If you like wine and you want to hit up, I mean, you can buy a bottle, but if you buy a case, it's 25% off right now. It definitely helps my sister out. I know the holidays are really tough for small businesses, and their winery is definitely a small winery. But not only are they adorable, they are delicious. Go check them out. Support my sister. I would appreciate it.
That's good.
And she'll send me more wine if you do.
So really do it for us.
The conversation will always be more interesting.
All right, what are we talking about this week, Mama? It's been a heck of a week around here, but what are we discussing here today?
So about a week ago, I found out that there's this crazy TikTok trend
my favorite. I don't know the full details on this yet, but go ahead.
Okay, full disclosure, TikTok is who brought you the Tide Pod challenge. Remember that?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, where the kids and the college kids were eating Tide Pods as a challenge. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to eat Tide Pods. Yeah.
I recall.
So, and there's been a bunch of just stupid challenge. I mean, like stupid mindless, ridiculous challenges that all these young people jump on, make TikTok videos of themselves doing these things. Sometimes they're really dangerous. There have been people that have, like, unfortunately been killed doing TikTok trends. So anyway, it's nuts. So the current trend is Osama bin Laden sympathizers. Right. So this whole time we thought the one thing we can all agree on as Americans is like no terrorism.
I want to put this out there ahead of time. Disclaimer that we don't want this. I don't want this to become a rant by any means, because it's something that I could so easily rant about for an extended period of time. But for the sake of keeping this relatively lighthearted, I'm not on TikTok, never have been, not for a single day of my life. Hate the platform, don't like short form content. Just kind of hate a lot of what I've seen come from the platform.
What if we decide to utilize the platform though at some point for our podcast?
That's fine, but we're not going to make the stereotypical. I'm not a big fan of short form material. I'm just not. It's just my personal opinion. It's a big part of why we don't make a ton of it. But there's a lot of bad things associated with TikTok, including China, for those who weren't aware. So
and just access to your information, everything. So our kids have been forbidden from having TikTok accounts because we don't want them. You have to literally sign a consent or agree to a consent to them to have access to your photos, your location, everything on your phone.
Your text messages, literally everything. If you're not familiar with the user term agreement for TikTok, look it up, look into it. It is terrifying, and it's a big part of the reason that I personally do not partake.
Right. Unfortunately, a lot of people do, and it has created these ridiculous trends. So currently, there is one where there is a letter that I was aware of existed. It's called A Letter to America. It was written by Osama bin Laden 1 year after the 9/11 terror attacks. And I think it was like November 2002 or something like that.
And how was this originally put out and disseminated?
I guess the federal government had it, and then The Guardian put it up about 20 years ago. And that's it's been up there ever since. That's where it exists. And so you can go there, or you could go there, read this letter, and it was a historical document. This is what this terrorist thought, and this is like the mad rantings of him. It was his manifesto. And it was very anti-Semitic, very anti-American, very anti-American government, anti-democracy, anti-gay, you name it. It was like saying why all these people should be exterminated and why it was justified, why 3,000 innocent American civilians murder was justified. And so that's what this letter is. So this one TikToker in particular got a hold of, read the letter, and then made a post, a video saying that she agreed with his rantings. She can see now that he actually had it all figured out.
Do you remember, because you briefly played this for me, but I said save it for the podcast. What is the term that kept being repeated, parroted, and regurgitated? Something about just some transformative, the way that they view the world based on the reading of this letter. They're viewing things and our country in particular completely different than they did previously.
They were literally saying that they no longer view America in the same way. They don't view life in the same way. This was so riveting and eye-opening, and they couldn't believe that they had never read this letter before, and it was just transformative, life-changing in the way that they.
There was like a buzz term that they kept repeating.
They all keep saying it. So I do have a couple of the videos.
Okay, but before we get into this, are these very prominent people, or are they like on the platform, or were they relatively obscure until this came about and they started this trend?
The original girl had like 130 or 140,000 followers. I think of 137,000 followers. Okay. So on TikTok, that's not very many.
Right.
It sounds like a lot, like on YouTube and stuff like that. But on TikTok, it's not very many because you can grow very rapidly.
Short form content, that's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So she didn't have that many. She released this, and the video got like 800,000 likes right away, which is a lot when you only have 130,000.
What do you mean by right away? In like a week?
Or not likes, watches.
Oh, lots of like views.
Very quickly. Anyway, I don't know what they.
Was it promoted by? So again, I keep coming back to China, but obviously China is an adversary of our country. So I find it interesting that this would be pushed in the TikTok algorithm to the surface to be viewed by so many people.
It went, 800,000 people viewed it very quickly. It got 80,000 likes, which became kind of alarming for like the federal government and everything, because they're like, whoa, 10% of the people that watch this were like, yep, this is cool.
And is this just in America or is this worldwide?
It seems to be it's an American influencer, and it seems to be mostly Americans that are like watching it, and now it got shared so many times. It's now up to, or it was up to like 14 million views, 14.1 million views. So this thing went viral.
Yeah.
And then she was encouraging people to go read the letter. So people were then going to The Guardian, and there's literally a chart where you can see like, because The Guardian will track, anything that they put up there.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then it's like
Massive
from TikTok,
spike.
huge spike. Mm-hmm. All these people went over there, started reading the letter, obviously misunderstanding it. I mean, this is like total ignorance to read this and be like, yeah, this
Why do you say they were misunderstanding it?
It's stupidity. If you can read that and say, yeah, this person is right, you're stupid.
I agree, but that
you
doesn't
can't
mean,
justify
that doesn't mean that they're misunderstanding it. I mean, they're interpreting it in their own way and coming away with, their own objective findings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would completely agree with you. And without reluctance would say that you're an idiot.
Yeah.
If you sympathize whatsoever with Osama bin Laden.
Right. Yeah. Like he was not correct. So to get on TikTok,
no, he was evil, and he's not to be glorified or worshipped in any way.
Yeah, exactly.
Let alone somebody to be viewed as being sympathetic.
So this became I can't even say
TikTok.
A TikTok trend.
TikTok.
A TikTok trend where now there were thousands of creators or young people, and they're saying, oh, it's all walks of life and it's all races and it's all ages. Really, it's a bunch of people under 20 or 25 making these videos. Who
weren't alive for 9/11.
None of them were alive for 9/11. They just weren't. Yeah. Like, we were 18 years old. It was the year we became adults. Yeah. It was very, want to talk about transformative. Mm-hmm. Like, to see that on the news, to turn it on and see that, it's maddening to hear people, young people that weren't there, didn't experience it, know very little about it, to go on there and justify it and then make these videos. And they're making like these comical videos. Like there was this one blonde gal and she's making a video and it's all 2011 when I hear Osama bin Laden's been killed, and she's all like celebrating. And then it's all 2023 realizing he's correct. And she's like rubbing her head. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I saw that video about maybe a week ago and I showed you and I'm like, what is this? And I didn't realize at the time what it was.
Like I said, you were briefly showing me, you had mentioned it to me. Is there a political slant with all of this, with the people who are making these videos?
It's a lot of, so for the young people, it's a lot of like more of the extreme left-wing females, leftist, mostly females. Not all, but every single video I have seen, and I've seen probably 20 of them, have been women under 25, more left-wing. But it's also becoming a big thing on the far right with these extremist groups, because the letter is very anti-Semitic. And so and they're very anti-government. So it kind of, and it was saying, the letter to America goes on to explain that, like, you will understand this when your government doesn't value the rights of like the Jewish state over Americans. And so for these right-wing extremist groups over there too, it fits their narrative as well. So it seems to be across the extreme aisles. People in the middle are like, what on earth? The
political spectrum. Yeah. Okay. So let's get a sampling of this. You have a video queued up there?
I do. This is just, okay. So it's actually, I tried to find the videos that I saw earlier in the week, but TikTok has rapidly been pulling them down by the thousands. And
which is interesting.
Yeah, they're pulling them down.
And the fact that they pulled down the original letter authored by Osama bin Laden is interesting as well. I don't know whether or not that's a good or bad thing. I mean, I guess I would say,
I think it's a bad thing.
I think it's a bad thing too. I think you should be able to access such things and reference such things. It's a historical document, like you said. And I mean, agree with it or not, it's still something that should be referred to and pointed to as an example of somebody who's maybe who's evil.
Yeah. So let's get back to that whole pulling the letter down thing. But here's kind of the videos.
Saying they just read bin Laden's letter to America and have had their eyes opened up for the first time. So take a listen to what Yashar posted.
This morning I read Letter to America, which is Osama bin Laden's letter to America explaining why he attacked Americans. And I am ashamed to say that I not only have never read this letter, but I didn't even know this letter existed. And I feel the same exact way I felt when I was deconstructing Christianity. I feel a little bit just confused, like I have entered into another timeline. What is this?
So I just read A Letter to America. And I will never look at life the same. I will never look at this country the same. In the last 20 minutes, my entire viewpoint on the entire life I have believed and I have lived has changed.
It becomes apparent to me that the actions of 9/11 and those acts committed against the USA and its people were all just a buildup of our government failing other nations.
All right, so let's put up how Glenn reacted.
Okay,
to
little
the
sample of exactly what is going on here on TikTok.
All right.
Have you read the letter?
I read the letter a long time ago, and like back when I was in college.
Okay, I have not read it. I am curious though, and I find it so troubling that these women seem to be so easily swayed.
Yeah.
They all look younger, to where they probably didn't have a firsthand experience with 9/11, or they don't have any emotions attached to that day. It's just very troublesome that people nowadays seem to be so easily influenced.
Yeah, well, and then anything that becomes trendy, people want to jump on the trend, right. And then they're like, "Oh, I want to make one of these videos as well."
So it becomes a self-perpetuating thing,
right?
Yeah.
So our government even started looking into the federal government started investigating this trend. Like, what on earth are these bots? Are they people influenced, or that are trying to influence Americans, but they're not actually Americans? But no, it just turns out that it's a bunch of dumb young people that like literally have not using their brains. And they're American citizens.
You're the one ranting, not me. Look at this.
It's so dumb. It's like, it's mind-numbingly dumb to make a video supporting one of the most horrific attacks on innocent people.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it goes hand in hand with so much of what it is that you see on that side of the political spectrum. So oftentimes, I'm not saying that's universal across the board, but for anybody who has a gripe with our country, yeah, our country is not perfect, but we are so blessed. And I've said this on the podcast before, we are all so incredibly blessed to live in a time full of such prosperity across the board. Literally, if you are poor in our country, you are rich, you are still in the top 1% worldwide. We are blessed with abundance. We are blessed with so many freedoms that are very slowly being chipped away. But we still live in the most amazing country, in my opinion, that has ever existed.
Yeah. Well, we live in a country that allows you to get on the internet and act like a fool.
To voice your opinions, and rightfully so. I mean, while I strongly, vehemently disagree with so much of what it is that we're talking about, and so much of what it is that is shared online. Yeah, thanks. I'm sweating again. It's so hot in here. We have a fire.
Do you want to open the door?
No. What was I saying though? Well, I so strongly agree. I fully support, their right to express their opinions openly and passionately.
Okay, so this brings on the other question. Do these people have the right to make these videos? So TikTok was originally letting it stand. I think when they started taking the videos down is kind of when the government started investigating and getting involved, and it started to become a problem. The Guardian pulled the letter off. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there was like a White House briefing on it. It became a big deal. So imagine being the person who started this trend. Like,
it's concerning that there are so many people in our country who seemingly hate our country at the same time. I mean, if you don't, I hate to say it, but if you don't like it, leave it. Really, it's if you are completely unaware of exactly how blessed you are to be here in this time, leave. Try something else. Go somewhere else and see how you like it. But you should take pride in our country and the fact that we live here and we are, again, blessed beyond belief.
Remember that American girl that left America? She was like kind of a brat, and she was being kind of bratty to her parents, and she left when she was 19. You're going to have to be
more specific.
I know. No, she left. It was right like when the war in Afghanistan, Iraq was going on. She left America, left her family. I think she was like 19 or something like that, to join Al-Qaeda and like fight for their cause.
Really?
Yeah.
And she was a female. And then we had to go bail her out and rescue her.
And she went over there, and they were like American female. And so they kidnapped her and like used her as a slave for all the men.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she was demanding that the Navy SEALs go in and rescue her. Yeah. So then all these Navy SEALs had to go risk their lives to save her from her stupidity, because she got herself into one bad situation. So she thought she was going to go over there and be a hero, and I'm going to go. And yeah, she got over there and figured out exactly how that was going to work out for an American woman. So yeah, they had to go rescue her. And then she's still kind of a pain in the butt. Like, she wasn't thankful to the people that rescued her or anything like that. It was like, what took you so long? Jeez.
How demanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. This, Does this concern you from from something we talk about a lot here, but from a parental perspective, we have a lot of these conversations with our kids, and the fact that it seems like so many of these, it's primarily young folks that, it's kind of take this side of any issue, political hot button issue nowadays.
Yeah, it does, because there was a recent poll done, I think by the New York Times or somebody did a poll. Mm-hmm. They polled like thousands of people from the age of 18 to 30. 1/3 of Americans under the age of 30 said they get their news from TikTok. All of their news.
Sounds about right.
So when you're watching stuff like this and this is your news source, again, the Tide Pod challenge, must we recall, or remember that challenge where you would get out of your car while it was rolling and you danced and then you tried to jump back in and a bunch of people crashed?
Yeah.
Brought to you by TikTok. So these people under 30 are getting... 1/3 of them are getting their news from this site. And then I said that to Nevaeh, isn't this stupid? And she goes, well, I get all my news from Instagram. I was like, wow, what? What are you talking about?
It's so dangerous because what is the reliable source that you go to nowadays?
So she says she's getting it from news sources. So, you do have...
Yeah, but even there, the media has become so corrupt. Again, it's my personal take and opinion, but I think there are very factual things that you can point to, especially over the last few years with what it is that gets reported by said cable news network.
Yeah, and there is more free media, if you will.
Independent media, yeah.
Yeah. And they're on those platforms too. So you can get news from Instagram, from Facebook and stuff, from news sources. But so often stuff gets spread around through videos or people reposting things that maybe aren't true that look like a news source. And so I was like, yeah.
But we also live in an age of quote unquote misinformation or actual factual information that gets deemed as being misinformation. So it's hard to decipher, especially if you're a young person with very little life experience to lean back or look back upon.
Yeah, I think...
And it concerns me, certainly from a parental standpoint.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good news source. It's just not. I don't think so.
It's not reliable whatsoever. Who's doing the fact checking?
The platforms.
And you shouldn't be receiving any of your news from one source. You should be looking at multiple sources and putting them up against each other and trying to decipher and delineate exactly where the truth may lie. Because it's really hard to determine in today's day and age. And that is really unfortunate. And again, scary.
Yeah. Who said it? When did they say it? Why did they say it? Did they really say it?
How many of us have a true, accurate sense? How many of us have our finger on the pulse of things in the state of our country, in the state of the world? And you go, I've heard, because again, I can't attest to this personally, but I've heard that if you go to different areas of the world, other Western societies, that they are given information that is withheld from us here and vice versa.
Right.
So it's not more, it's more so about shaping a narrative rather than getting the information out to people.
Yeah. Well, so now a lot of people are taking to X for this.
Yes.
Formerly Twitter, because that is supposed to be a platform where you can write whatever you want on there without having it taken down. So now this is getting moved over there because Twitter is not apparently going to be taking this down, but or maybe they are, I don't know, because all the platforms also have very clear anti-terrorist
policies.
Yeah. So and TikTok did as well, which is why they're now taking down thousands.
That's not true
of videos.
Though, because right? All these different terror organizations all have social media pages. They release videos all the time on a consistent basis. I believe on X doesn't, I don't know if it's like Hamas or Al Qaeda or name said terror organization. They have established pages with followings that they maintain.
I don't know what their new policy is because obviously it's under new ownership with Elon Musk and everything. So I don't know what the policy is there. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they have no, anti-terrorist policies or terrorist policies. And so you can't post anything pro-terrorism. So this stuff is being taken down.
Yeah, makes sense.
So they're saying this does not fall under freedom of speech because it's terrorism. So not everything falls under freedom of speech. Not everything does.
No, and I'm all for freedoms, but there comes a point where it seems like you should, I don't know, it's a really difficult issue to navigate. It really is.
It is because it's a slippery slope.
It is, yeah. I'm all for wide open freedom at the same time. It's like, do you allow for, I don't even want to use the word on here because we'll get flagged, but, the more explicit type content.
Oh, yeah. See, I say that's not freedom of speech. A lot of people say it is.
A lot of people make that case, and it is a very slippery slope. Who is it that gets to pick and decide what gets snipped out and what gets left in?
Yeah. I would say that's not freedom of speech because it endangers children that are on the platform, and it leads to predators and things like that, and it feeds the appetite of predators making it worse and stuff. So I would say that doesn't fall under freedom of speech. I would say terrorism stuff doesn't fall under freedom of speech because it's provoking violence. So yeah, not everything does. Like you can't, same thing, like you can't yell fire in a theater. That's not protected by freedom of speech.
It's just sad that we don't have any reliable resources that we can go to or that you can point to, even for the kids, and trying to provide them with guidance on current events. You know, it's part of the reason that I don't want to say we discourage our kids from attending college or university, but they really don't have a strong desire because it's something that we've never reinforced.
Yeah.
And when you're surrounding yourself with a bunch of other very arrogantly opinionated 20-year-olds, and your child is amongst them, and that is their peer group, and who it is that they're drawing other influences and information from. It's a scary thought to put all this work into your child and ship them off, and you don't know what it is you'd be getting back in return from a university.
Well, I have not been very impressed with the behavior of our American college students in Harvard and things like that in the last few weeks.
In very few universities would I put any trust and faith in sending my child to.
Yeah, there's a few.
Not that it's necessarily my decision, but it's
Hillsdale, things like that. I would be okay with. But a lot of them, it would worry me. Honestly, it would. And Nevaeh just had a friend come and visit us, and he's just spent his first semester in university. And I asked him how
Boise
it was going.
State?
Yeah, and he was like, kind of like, well, it's tricky because you have to, in order to survive, basically, you have to kind of play the game. You have to kind of come at it at a certain stance, because if I would just said exactly what I believed, they would say, no, you're wrong, and I would fail. And so he already is having to dance this line.
And I think college is great for having those discussions and being exposed to different viewpoints and encountering people and learning how to interact with them and learning how to have a civil discussion with them to try to figure out exactly what the truth is, or why it is that, this thought or opinion is valid and this thought or opinion is not. Those are all great things that come from college. But I guess the actual institution of what, academia has become, it seems like it's been infiltrated by these extreme leftists, for the most part, who are put into positions of influence and authority. And so because of that, like I said, the thought of shipping any one of our kids off to a university terrifies me, especially when I see this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's stupid. Like,
it is.
When I watch this, it's dumb. So the 3 videos that I showed, I don't have a massive problem with those in being on TikTok, because to me that kind of does fall under the freedom of speech thing, because they're not advocating for violence or anything like that. They're just saying this changed my viewpoint. And I think they should be free to say that. I think that they are dumb, but they're free to be dumb.
Yeah.
God bless America.
100% support your ability to reveal exactly how
who you are.
Ill-informed you are.
Right. So that's fine. But there were other people whose videos have been taken down that were literally like, he was right.
Yeah.
And this is why. And these 3,000 deaths were justified. And this is why. And so some of those videos needed to go. Under their policy, they needed to go.
Have there been any videos posted offering up a rebuttal to these original videos? Or
I'm
like,
sure.
Like 9/11 victim family members that are speaking up, anything like that?
Well, that's
that you've seen?
what the White House said. The White House said that this was just such a smack in the face, basically, to
it's
the victims.
so disrespectful. It's beyond disrespectful. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is. Like, it would be maddening if you had lost a parent or a child or a
to
friend.
say the least. Yeah. I mean, it's been 20-something years, and, not that I had any direct involvement with it, but every time I see the clips, as I'm sure is the case for many of us, it just sickens me to my stomach.
Yeah, it's kind of like Pearl Harbor. Like, we weren't around for Pearl Harbor, so we can't understand what that was like. But, like, your grandma was in Hawaii and saw the Japanese planes flying over her home. She remembers that. So that is different to her.
Yeah, it's very impactful. In the same way.
And for us, like, we turned on, like, I remember where I was, who called me to tell me to turn on the TV, exactly how I felt. I remember watching the second plane hit the tower. I remember what that felt like. And the days after was almost like everyone was like zombies, like walking around like, what happened?
Yeah, but everybody also had this sense of, that's the last time I can remember. I think we've mentioned this on the podcast before. Also, is that I don't recall there being since this collective sense of patriotism and pride in our country.
It was when everyone, no matter where you stood, everyone stood together as Americans, and we were united for kind of the last time.
But the world was also a different place back then.
Yeah.
As well. We didn't have social media. We didn't have all of this, everybody at each other's throats, being really just vile toward one another. So I don't know whether or not it would take another Pearl Harbor or 9/11 to bring everybody back together on the same page. I don't know that would ever happen.
I don't know that it could. I think it would just cause more divide.
Yeah, I can't really fathom a situation where that is the case. And you're seeing Israel go through that now with the attacks that happened on October 7th, October 8th, and the horrific things that happened there. You know, that same sense of everybody coming together for a shared cause and having this sense of pride and patriotism. It's nice to see, but I mean, it's an ugly situation and so unfortunate that something so horrific has to occur for everybody to come together. Yeah, why is that the case? Why can't we appreciate again what it is that we have here and what it is that you know so many of our forefathers and ancestors have built? They've created an amazing place full of innovation and freedom, and it's just mind-boggling to me. It's so baffling. I hate seeing it.
Yeah, but I think, like, you're right. It was the last time that our country came together, and we could all agree that terrorists were bad. They were the bad guys. So then to see, like, Americans switching on that now is so mind-boggling. Like, I never thought we'd be in a place where that was trendy. I
think they're a very vocal minority at the same time, though, and it's hard to remember that when it comes to social media.
There's still thousands of them.
Sure, yeah, but you're considering we're a country of, 350 million people?
Yeah.
I think anybody our age or older, or anybody age 35 or older will...
Not getting our news from TikTok?
Yeah, not getting our news from TikTok and having lived the reality of being present and alive and here in our country on the day that 9/11, occurred. I think you'd find a very different mentality.
The people under 30 or under 25 that are getting all their news from TikTok, that are doing these trends, that are believing this stuff, that are becoming kind of extremists, but in an ill-informed way. And then they're always like, educate yourself. And it's like, you need to educate yourself. Like, that's like a big buzzword for them. You need to educate yourself.
And that's why I said it's so hard to do nowadays. It seems like it's troubling.
But these become tomorrow's leaders.
Yeah.
The outspoken ones are the ones that run for office and do all this stuff. So it is troubling to see this, because it's easy to be like, oh, those whippersnappers, or, but but they become the leaders of tomorrow. So it is troubling to see these trends.
We were talking to the kids last night at dinner about the stresses of life and how becoming a parent, it adds a ton of stress to your life. And how
you buggers.
Well, no, it's not even the kids per se. It's just, having to view the state of the world and see and have knowledge of the things that are going on, and knowing that you're going to have to somehow navigate that world in raising your own child or children. It's a very daunting thought. And I told them that it's going to be even worse for them, and not that, I don't want to be like that negative, cynical father.
Yeah. I think every dad in history has been like,
I think it's ramping up exponentially. Things are getting crazier and crazier. And I think by the time our kids are 40 years old and, God willing, they have kids that are, younger, teenagers, whatever the case may be, I think the world is going to be so borderline impossible to keep your kids and their mind and their thoughts guarded and safe from all of the evil and nonsense that exists in our world currently. Play it out another 20 years and see what happens.
Oh yeah, I think it was possible 10 years ago to kind of control what your kids were watching and seeing and the information they were getting, and then you would hear about it and you would be able to sit down as a family and talk about it and all that stuff. Now we have no idea what the kids are doing. You give your kids a cell phone or a tablet or any kind of device at all, they now have the world at their fingertips. So much weird information. I mean, some of the stuff that even comes out of Eli's mouth, and he's barely even on devices. We're like, where did you even do that?
How do you know about that?
Yeah. Like, we had to do that at dinner today. We're like, what are you talking about?
An hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, what was I going to say though? Yeah. It's a terrifying thought.
It is.
I really hate to think about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just thought that was super dumb.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I think we're all somewhat guilty of it in a weird way, though, because these damn devices and the internet as a whole, I think it's kind of reached a point where it does a lot more harm than good when it comes to, I know I'm fine.
I'm melting.
We have a fire going because I came in here initially, it was 43 degrees, and I feel like I'm in a sauna, so I'm sweating up a storm.
It's just not that hot in here.
What I was going to say was we have all become so detached. So many of us don't know, our neighbors. We don't have a sense of true community around us because people used to interact face to face. We used to exchange pleasantries, and now none of that is done. We rely upon the internet as our day-to-day interaction. Guilty of it myself. I'm not trying to point the finger at all.
Companion to people. Like, you get up in the morning and you're like, and you sit down and it's like, what is that? it's like dopamine and stuff.
You're just flood of dopamine.
Yeah, it's
instant
like,
gratification.
Oh, my phone. Or you sit down after work and you sit on your couch with your wine girl wine and your cell phone and you're like, I'm checking Facebook. Like, and it gives you that like that relaxed feeling, and it's a very hard thing to fight.
I told you on a couple different occasions this week already. Yesterday, left my phone, didn't touch it.
Yeah.
Great day. Kaimani and I have been hunting all week, and even when we are very oftentimes unsuccessful, it's still a great day. Something about walking around the woods and just spending quality time with my kid, even if we're not saying anything, if we're just sitting together quietly, I'm like, this is better.
Yeah.
And you know why it's better? Because this is how it's supposed to be.
Because it's real.
Because it's real. And it's getting back to what normal, once upon a time, actually used to look like.
Yeah. We're all so entertained all the time. Like, everyone's always blaming kids. Like, oh, kids are so entertained all the time on their devices and stuff. Go look at your average parent, grandparent. They are glued to their phone. Their kids are trying to talk to them. And they're like,
And again, I've been guilty of it.
Oh, yeah. Not looking up from the phone.
Not,
or your
not
kids.
trying to point the finger. It just sucks you in. It hijacks your attention span.
100%.
It's 100% gratification. You know, hey, I want to know something. Boom. In a matter of seconds, you can figure out exactly what it is
Remember
you
when
were
you had
trying
to try to remember
learn.
stuff? Remember being like, gosh, what is that actor's name? What is that? Or you're watching a movie and you're like, where have I seen that girl before? And you're like, gosh.
Look at how old they are. How old are they now?
Yeah. It's just weird things where you're trying to figure something out and then all of a sudden it pops into your head like 3 hours later and you're like, yeah. And there was that like, yes, she was in the labyrinth. Like, and you remember like.
Yeah, but not that long ago, we just didn't know. It's just, I don't know. We can guess and speculate, but that's the end of it.
Yeah, it'd drive you crazy. But that was good because it was a brain exercise. Now it's like actress from Top Gun. Where is she from? Oh, yeah, the labyrinth. That's
What
right.
does she look like 2023?
Yeah, how old is she?
Yeah, we waste so much time doing dumb crap like that.
Yeah, you used to have to use your brain. You used to have to rack your brain and try to remember.
Or
now
wonder.
you don't have to.
Yeah, or just wonder.
Yeah.
I like Joe Rogan says all the time on his podcast, and I've listened to it, and he brings up how people used to be able to BS somebody and like come up with a story. And now there's so much, you have so much information at your fingertips that you can't really BS somebody.
No.
And somebody can fact check you in a second and be like,
You can't make up stories about yourself. You can't claim to be you can't claim to be.
I graduated at the top of my
from
class.
Different universities. Yeah. Top of your class.
Like our president.
You can't. Well, he got away with it for years.
He did because it was the 80s and nobody knew any better.
Everyone was like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And now it's like, Google, you liar.
Everything he had done. Celebrate me.
Yeah. So.
Let's pivot here because I
right.
hate the negative road that we've been walking. So to segue, while I say that there are a bunch of negatives that come along with the internet, which I stand by, other end of the spectrum, our community came together through Good Simple Living, and we just recently delivered all of the gifts, packages, and fundraiser donations that you guys sent in, and such a powerful experience. Every year it is. I know I say it. I repeat myself. We both do on an annual basis, but what you guys managed to do and pull off is we're so grateful for it, and the impact that you have on the kids, but also indirectly on us every year is I can't emphasize it enough. It's so amazing that so many of you are willing to do what it is that you do, to take time out of your day to go shopping online or in a store, mail this stuff to us, or to write a check, send a PayPal donation. So I want to thank you once again. And like I said, all the negative things I was just going off about on the internet, if it weren't for you guys watching our videos and playing an active role in what it is that we all collectively managed to do for these kids and these families, it wouldn't happen otherwise. So thank you to all of you out there who, regardless of whether or not you actually contributed, I want to thank you.
Yeah, it was an incredible year, and we get the pleasure of meeting some of these kids and these families, and so we get to see the actual impact, and we do try to show that as much as possible, but it's different being there.
It is.
I think if you guys had any idea how excited these kids are, and how excited the families are, and they go to pick up their family boxes, because we've adopted so many families over the years together, and when they pick up the boxes, like, they so often just burst into tears, and it's like, this is Christmas for us, and strangers made it possible. And there's something so meaningful about that that people that they don't even know cared so much to put an entire Christmas together for them. And then like you guys just go so far and beyond that there have been so many families that have said, this is the best Christmas we've ever had.
Yeah.
Like for the kids, they're so spoiled.
It's unreal. And I do think there is something that's maybe lost in in translation with the impact that it has. Because, you know, I kept it together this year. I did not cry.
Yeah, you did good.
Cried year one. I almost broke twice.
No, you did cry during the interview.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
So I almost cried a couple times. I almost broke a couple times during the interviews. And then when you were reading the letter that we received.
Oh, were you crying then too? I was crying.
I was holding it together because I was holding the camera. But I was like, damn it.
I know.
Don't cry in front of everybody.
Such a sweetie.
But again, you guys, unreal. You don't have to do what you do, and it blows us away every year. It's amazing that there are so many just random like strangers. You guys don't know these families. You don't know these kids. Neither do we. But you take it upon yourself to be so generous with your giving. We raised $50,000 this year. We raised $60,000
without any big donors,
without any really massive donations. It's just a flood of very like still very very generous donations. It's amazing, and I wish everybody had the opportunity to experience it on our end with like receiving these checks and so many like handwritten letters.
Oh yeah, the letters
from people,
are so amazing.
And then on the back end, we get all of these stories about people who have who've had personal experiences with cancer and
a lot of tribute checks and stuff like this. I'm writing this check for my granddaughter who we lost, or for my daughter. A lot of.
It becomes so overwhelming. Legitimately, I'm doing it right now. Look, it's happening. It becomes overwhelming to receive. You know, over and over, and like picking up packages and boxes. I'm like, look at all these people. Like, look what these people are managing to do. So there are. I know we just went off for like 45 minutes on the crappy side of the internet and the crappy side of people, but I hope it serves as an example of the fact that it's so hard to remember sometimes. It's very easy to forget, is what I was going to say. But there are so many good folks out there. We outnumber and outweigh all the crap that we were talking about here for the podcast episode here today. So I just wanted to thank you on the podcast episode, since it's kind of a direct line to communicate with you guys, and looking forward to doing it again next year.
Yeah. It's so incredible every single year. So this year has been a massive blessing, just like every year. I think there's something when you need something and a family member does something for you, it's appreciated and it's nice, but it's different than when a stranger does something for you, because they have zero obligation, connection, anything. It's just literally done out of the goodness of their heart. Like
it's just giving,
like a good Samaritan. And it's like, why are these people doing this for us? They don't even know us. And I think that is such a powerful thing.
Yeah. With zero expectation.
Yep.
I expect nothing in return, just here.
Yeah. Because we had quite a few of the families be like, how do I thank these people? Can I thank them? Can we write them letters? I was like, it literally came from thousands of people. And no, you can't thank them. And there's beauty in that.
Yeah, there's no thanks necessary.
Yeah, there's they gave without any expectation of a thank you. And that's such a powerful thing. So yeah, it's great.
Okay, what else? Let's start writing this down, because again, I'm melting. This might end up being a shorter episode. So
melting?
I cannot stop sweating. It is so hot in here, even though it probably is now.
Pointing at my Rudolph?
Fine. We didn't address the Rudolph. What else do we have coming as far as Christmas is concerned?
Well, I ordered a tree. It's 3 feet tall, but he didn't come. Well, it's at the post office. So instead, I pulled him out of my windowsill. This is my Rudolph. So he's in the podcast studio for now, but we're going to put a tree in here to make it festive. But instead, I got him at the Safeway. He's really classy. He was in the floral section next to the wine.
I'm shocked that's all you have up thus far.
And here?
We always talk about this empty black wall that we have. The house
looks like North Pole.
The house looks like it exploded with Christmas. And that's me like placing a constraint upon Melissa, because I say, take it easy with the Christmas stuff.
Super rude.
As soon as we are done with Thanksgiving dinner, it's like, it is Christmas.
We decorated the tree wall between pie and turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's time. Like last bite of pumpkin pie, it's like, I like watch everyone clean their forks and I'm like, Christmas.
We were at Safeway.
Christmas time is here.
We were at our local Safeway yesterday, and they already had the Christmas music going. And of course, everything was decked out for Christmas. I'm like, it's too early.
Beautiful.
It's too early.
Merry Christmas.
Kira's been getting on me. She's watching Christmas movies every day. I'm like, you're going to ruin it. It's
Kira
too much
is
too
my spirit
soon.
animal.
It's too much too soon.
Kira and I are simpatico.
Simpatico.
Yeah.
Mi es tu mamá.
Yeah. So Kira and I, we love the Christmas we are excited about it. We watched The Grinch last night, and yeah, you're trying to limit like her Christmas movies, telling her she's going to ruin Christmas for herself. That's like not possible. I can watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 30 times leading up to Christmas. It doesn't ruin the holiday. What ruins the holiday is people telling us not to watch Christmas movies, not to listen to Christmas music. You're ruining it.
It's too much.
No, that's not even possible. It's a beautiful time of year.
I'm glad you guys enjoy it. I'm glad she
we do.
enjoys it. You guys can have fun with it. I really don't care. I'm going to keep trying to get our buck here on the property with Kaimani. We made some progress. We had some things not go perfectly well this week, which is unfortunate because this is going to be the first buck that Kaimani hopefully gets this year. We'll see if it even materializes and happens. But
yeah,
it's been an interesting week, as it always is around here. We have to get back to work on
we do.
Gabby. It has been a long time between going to Texas, between, all the charitable stuff that's been going on. We've been very, very
getting
busy.
Getting the horses set up.
Getting the horses set up for winter, all the animals set up for winter. It's been a very busy time around here, but it is time. It's time for us to get back to work. So we will be working on that later this week. You guys will be getting those videos here served up relatively soon because we are not ahead schedule-wise.
No, we're not.
with videos,
which
is always a stressful thing for us. So you guys can look forward to those videos coming soon. Again, you want to reiterate where it is that everybody can pick up some of this wine?
Wine Girl Wines. They have a website and 25% off cases right now. So just click the link down below. Takes you to their website. They also have a phone number on there. They like when you call, but don't feel any pressure. You can order it from the website.
It's very personal, very personable.
Yeah. You can call. Ask for my sister.
Alicia.
They're going to love that. His employees are going to be like, what?
Everybody call them, regardless of whether or not you want wine. Just give them a call.
No, it's amazing wine. Yeah, I highly recommend.
Legit. Not just saying that. I know it's family for us, but it's seriously, it's good wine. So give it a shot if you like wine, and hopefully you like it as much as we do.
They will.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, Mama. I need to get a towel and take a shower because I'm sweating profusely. I don't know what my problem is.
So next week, Chip and Joanna on the podcast.
They will be here.
Probably not going to be here, but they might be. So tune in.
We'll all find out together.
Yeah.
All right. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.